my pretties, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jen, your magic mama, coming to you with 25 years experience with the art of tarot divination. I'm so happy you could join me, and I'm excited to see what the cards have in store for us today. Before we begin, please give this video a like, tap the subscriber button, and ring the bell icon to receive up-to-date notifications so you don't miss out on any important messages that we receive from the universe. For today's video, I thought it would be a good time for us to look at what's ahead of us in September. We'll look at our wins and challenges, what skills we'll have to our advantage, the pitfalls that we'll need to look out for, who our champions are, and what lessons and wisdoms the month will impart to us. And we'll get an overall view of the September landscape and what to expect. So let's begin. I have a few questions that I thought would be good for us to cover today. So the first thing I want to start off with is asking the cards, asking the universe, what wins can we look forward to? I think it's always good to start on a positive note, so let's see what they have in store for us. I'd love to know in the comments what you're looking forward to. Do you have any plans for September? I know it's a great time for when the season starts to change. If you go up north, you can see the leaves starting to change color, and it's starting to get a little bit cooler. So I know for sure that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, so what wins do we have for the month? All right. Oh. Six of Pentacles. All right, so the Six of Pentacles. This is a card that evokes this idea of charity and generosity. So it looks like this is going to be a time of giving. So I think with wins, we're going to have this be a time where we have some type of philanthropy or donation, someone giving us help in some way, typically in a financial way. So we might see some unexpected money come in when we feel like we really need it. All right, so that's a win. That's a great win. What challenges will we face for this month? Okay, our challenges. We have the Sun. Okay, so I feel like usually the Sun is such a good card. To me, this is it feels like we're going to be in a place where we're starting over with something. And starting over can be challenging, you know, especially if you've worked on something for a long time. It can be really hard to let that stuff go. But I feel like this is the message that we're getting is we're starting over. There's going to be a starting over, a new beginning, and I feel like that is going to be where there might be some difficulty for us, a difficulty with like the change management of dealing with having to shift to start something new. All right, and we have Death. Yes, going in with that starting over transition. All right, so what skills and advantages will we have in our favor for this month? Let's look at our skills. Oh, we've got a couple of cards. All right, we have the High Priest, the Queen of Cups, and the Magician. This to me says that we're going to have to use our heart and our intuition. So having your intuition be your guide is going to be an asset to you. Being in touch with your emotions is going to be also really critical. And then the Magician, this is just your power. So tapping into your power and your intuition, and staying connected with your emotions is really going to be a benefit to you. All right, so we've talked about what our wins are. So looking at some money coming in, some type of material assistance, going through a transition and having to start over, being our challenge. And then our assets are going to be our intuition, our power, and tapping into those emotions. I feel like so often we're a society that thinks with our but uses our head, and we completely disregard how our gut and our heart can really lead us to the right answers a lot of the time. All right, so we've talked about the advantages. What pitfalls do we need to look out for? So let's look at what pitfalls do we need to look out for September. Let's see. All right, while I'm looking at pitfalls, I'd love to know what are you starting over? Let me know in the comments. What are you working on that you're having to start anew? And what is your gut telling you? What is your gut telling you to do here? Okay, so looking at pitfalls are things that we will struggle with for September. There it goes, comes flying out. We have the Six of Swords. So with the Six of Swords, this to me is with this card, I see this safe passage and voyage. So I feel like we're going to have a place where I'm trying to think of the best way to see this, and I'm tapping into my guides to see what they're saying. I think the struggle is going to be in finding that safe haven, finding safe passage. I think we're not out of the woods yet with a lot of things, and you're not out of the woods yet with some of the stuff that you've been struggling with. So we're not quite to our destination, and I think that's going to be the struggle. Is we're going to have some rough seas, right? We're going to have a little bit of a harder passage through this September. And whatever transitions, they're going to be a little bit of difficult for us. All right, so what I'd like to know is who or what are going to be our champions for this month? Who can we look to as our guides, or what's going to be an asset with who's going to champion us to get those wins for the month? And while I'm doing this, I'd love to hear, what assets are you using? How are you going to apply your intuition and your emotions to what the future has for you? Do you feel like you're already tapping into your power? I know I've talked about this in my last video. That was for Virgos. So if you're a Virgo, we did talk about this being a great time for your power and a place of productivity. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. I want to make sure that you can see all the cards here. Okay, cool. Yep. All right, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so this is what our champions are. So What is our champion? Our champion, again, it's monetary, right? There's going to be some type of success there. We're coming out of hibernation. So if you have been in a place where you've been struggling with money, or you've been trying to save, this is going to be a good time for you to come out, and you're going to see some profit. So that's what I'm seeing here with our guides. They're going to be our benefactors. All right, and what lesson will we learn? What is the lesson for this month? I think it's always good. We're always learning. I know I love to always look at what the month has in store for me, as well as have a look back and think about what lessons I've learned for the month. And while I'm looking at what our lesson will be for the month, I would love to know, how are you going to leverage this? Do you have a new business on the horizon? Is there a new opportunity where you can see yourself making money? I'd love to know how you feel like this fits in. Okay, so our lessons for the month, we have 5 of Pentacles and 7 of Wands. So with 7 of the Wands, he's in a defensive position, but he has the higher ground. So to me, this is, I'm seeing a little bit of strategy here. But I'm also I'm seeing this 5 of Pentacles with dealing with loss, dealing with disillusionment. I think this is just, while we're going to have these wins, they're not coming from nothing. There's going to be a little bit of a struggle here. We're going to be in a defensive position. So I think the lesson that I'm seeing from the 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands is just to be mindful of not to get overwhelmed with our loss, realizing that while we feel like we're in this fight, we actually have the higher ground and we do have the advantage. Okay, and let's just do an overall look at the month as a whole. Let's just put a capstone here, and then I'll look at the Moon Oracle cards and see if we have any wisdom that we can impart for each week. All right, 8 of Wands. We're going to have a lot of motion. We're going to have a lot of messages. I feel like this is interesting because at the end of September is when we start Mercury retrograde. So I would say that's something to look out for as well. But this is just there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of progress. It's going to be a time of progress. So keep that in mind with this reading. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are. How does this connect with you? We've talked about our wins is that we're going to get some type of financial gain and generosity. Our struggle is that we're going to have to start new. There's going to be a transition, starting something over, and that being a challenge. Our assets, though, are our intuition, our emotions, and our power. So making sure that we're tapping into that. And then we have our pitfalls to look out for is that we're not safe out of the woods yet. There's still going to be a little bit of a rocky time, so don't let that throw you for a loop. Don't let your guard down, essentially, with that. We talked about our champions. So our champions, again, financial gain. This is going to be the people who are going to help you realize your goals that are going to lead to profitability. And then we have the lessons for the month of September, and it's a not getting lost in the disillusionment if something doesn't go your way, especially with the starting anew and starting things over. Don't let that overwhelm you, because you are at an advantage. And then overall, we have that this is going to be a time of progress, of motion and moving forward. We're definitely not stuck here. All right, so let me know in your thoughts in your comments how this resonates with you. Are you really connecting to this? Okay, so I want to get an overall message of wisdom for the month, and then I might do a deeper dive into each week so we can just be really prepared. All right, so what is the overall wisdom we should impart? And I love these cards for getting some extra wisdom. Just the way that they're written, I find them really helpful. Let's see if they'll come out. Come on now. All right, what wisdom do we have for September? All right, we have these two cards here that came out. It's time to take action. All right, so it's time to take action. This totally speaks to that Eight of Wands. And it's time to breathe out. So there's going to be this time of a little bit of chaos that I'm seeing. And then immediately having that deep breath out afterwards. So a lot of action, a lot of movement, and then a slowing down. So I would say in September, the first part of it is we're going to see a lot of this action. And then once we're having to start over, not getting overwhelmed with the disillusionment, just taking a deep breath to slow down towards the end of the month. And I think that speaks well, especially again with Mercury in retrograde, that definitely impacts September, and this little bit of taking time to breathe out, so that towards the end of September we're not going to want to take so much action, because that can lead to a little bit of chaos, especially with communication. All right, so let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into each week. I just want to get one card to get an overall impression, and then one card for the lesson learned. So let's see what we find out. All right, so the first week of September, what do we have in store? First week, High Priestess. So this is where you're going to use that asset of tapping into your intuition, tapping into divine feminine, but really tapping into that intuition. And what is the lesson for that week? The lesson for that week is adjustments are required. So this is probably where we're going to see a little bit of that transition of having to start something new. And you should really just tap into your intuition during that time, so that you can make that transition as easy as possible on yourself. All right, let's look at the next week. Next week we have the Princess of Wands. So this is a lot of like, I see this drive and will. There's an excitement for journey, for stepping on to a new endeavor. It's really what I'm seeing here. So we're making this adjustment and we're going along for the ride, and we see a way forward. All right, so what is our words of wisdom for that second week of September? All right, so we got balance, spirituality, and practicality. And I think that makes sense for this card. It makes sense for the Princess of Wands. This being like I feel like that nice in-between of like you have the intuition and you have her vibrancy and spirit, but then walking the path, actually going forward. All right, so let's look at the week 3. Week 3, we have Cernunnos. So in this deck, Cernunnos represents the devil. So I see this as this is probably going to be a week of indulgence, and we need to be really mindful of that. All right, once again, we have the energy is gaining momentum. Okay, so we've had this adjustment that we've had to make, and we're using our intuition to use our will to drive us forward with using the balance of spirituality and practicality. We're going to have a little bit of indulgence, but with all of these things, with this new transition, things are going to start to move. We're really going to see some action. So let's look at that 4th week. So this September, we have 5 weeks in it. So let's just see what we have for that 4th week. All right, we've got a couple of cards here. So we have 2 of Wands and Ace of Wands. So this to me is definitely there's a new phase. There's a new opportunity, the doorway. So a new opportunity for us to take advantage of, and it's going to be a great time for our will of driving those things forward. All right, so what is our wisdom for that week 4? Week 4 is expect powerful change. This is all adding up to me. We're going through a big transition and we're gaining momentum, and then we're going to have this breakthrough around week 4 with a huge opportunity. So as I mentioned in the previous reading for the overall for the month, we're going to have a lot of movement, a lot of action, and I'm already seeing that here. And then to round out the month, what do we have for that last week? Quite a lot of cards here. Let me give them another shuffle. All right, we have a lot of cards. I'm just going to see what came up. So, first card I picked up, Seven of Swords. So we're going to have a lot of this heads down. There's the Magician again. So this is where we're tapping into our power, new opportunity, and we're getting to work. So other things I see, the Ace of Pentacles has come up. So we've had these cards before, and this is where we're really going to see our benefactor, our champion, helping us get to where we need to go. We're going to tap into that power, and it's going to be a time of heads down. We also got Strength, Queen of Swords. So I see a lot of like decision making here. And then we're going to have opportunity, but we need to disregard, not necessarily disregard, but not be disillusioned again at our losses. So we're going to have some losses, but it seems like with the adjustments in the first week, but then we're going to build up momentum for a powerful change with opportunity, where we're going to step into our power, and then have this champion help us financially. All right, so I'd love to know, what are your thoughts? What are you going to use with this spread? It looks like I need to do one more wisdom card for the week 5. But in the meantime, I'd love to know, what transition do you see happening for you? All right, we have a new romantic cycle begins, and you're very close to achieving your goal. So again, this is going to be a time of active change. I see this September as being a lot of monetary business growth, and then where you're achieving your goal, are very close to it. And then we're going to transition to an emotional side probably beginning of October. I'd also say this is going to focus on your relationship. So I'm not necessarily seeing romantic per se, but I do find it interesting that this is a romantic cycle begins, but it's the new moon in Libra, which, as y'all know, is Libra begins towards the end of September. So I feel like this is going to be a big time of for your finances, for your business, and opportunities there. And then we're going to tap into our emotions and our relationships and utilize those in that last week. All right, so I'd love to know, overall, does this reading speak to you, and how do you feel about going into September? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for joining me for a spell, and I hope this reading has been insightful and help you prepare for the weeks ahead. If you have found this reading to be helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm your Magic Mama, sending you lots of love and asking you to be kind and be well.